Welcome to the pollinator garden. So a couple years ago, I decided I wanted to focus on a pollinator garden. I wanted to focus on native plants primarily, and I really wanted to support Lepidoptera or butterfly species to start with. So currently, I'm proving that I'm supporting approximately 17 different Lepidoptera species. I haven't put all my other plants I put in together, and I believe I'm supporting a lot more, a little over 20. So that's mostly butterflies, but and funnily enough, here's a great plant for the, what I always tell people, this is Golden Alexander. It's in the carrot family. Great plant. And it has these umbrellacea, umbrella fir. It's a great name. These basically umbrella flowers. It's not what it typically means, the Latin word, but these small flowers really help the smaller beneficial pollinators, the really small hoverflies and all the kind of smaller insects. And the more you can have this type of nectar out for pollinators throughout the whole season, I think personally, the better your overall garden works. And so this early food is important. The other thing that I want to say is we are here right now. This is the north side of the garden, and the back is the south side with south sun. So all of my milkweed, there's a monarch right there. Perfect timing. You came right on time. There's usually always 1 to 3 here during the summer, and I was thinking about it today. Would I get a monarch today? I love that we did. So the idea is, for monarchs especially, milkweed, there are 16 different types of milkweed that's native to Wisconsin. A lot of people don't know that. One of them is endangered, 2 are state threatened. So I really try to have all kinds of different milkweed. Now, one milkweed I don't plant in my pollinator garden is common milkweed. I like aggressive plants, and you'll see I have a lot of chaos stuff happening. Common's a little bit too aggressive. I pretty much go with all the others though. So we've got some swamp milkweed in here. We have some world milkweed in here, which is actually a little bit harder to get, to keep going. We have some showy. Oh, look here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've never seen that. There's 2 caterpillars right now on this milkweed. We want them eating it and continuing on with their lives. Like, the way I really see the pollinator garden, to be honest with you, is we're making restaurants and hotels for insects, primarily butterflies, but by doing so for butterflies, we do it for native bees as well. Like, there's many studies that show that milkweeds help bumblebees and help native bees just as much as they do butterflies, which is incredible. So some other cool plants along here, and you'll see, if you ever go to the Green Bay Bay Beach Sanctuary, you'll see a ton of this. It's Boneset. Back in the day, they actually set bones with this. Probably don't know if it worked or not. No science or legal advice here on this channel. So we got Boneset. I have some nodding onion and some alliums. You'll see these allium bulbs I kind of have in the middle. It's a little bit of chaos going on in the middle. I have these really cool double Sun King sunflowers, some Packer Aria, and all natives. That's kind of the goldenrod patch. So the idea is, this Golden Alexander is going to come early, and then there's going to be a lot of flowers that come in the summer, and then the goldenrod's going to help us out in the autumn when we need that nectar later on. So, and we've got these. This is a dwarf North Star cherry. So the dwarf North Star cherry and the Montmorency are 2 of the most popular cherries for Door County. And as some of you might know, we're on the doorway of Door County. We're in the same zone hardiness and very similar soil and clay and stuff. There was a bumblebee on this Comfrey, so I put some Comfrey here. Comfrey, as most gardeners know, is like a really great fertilizer plant. It is not native, but it is living here. So I do make some trade-offs with certain plants. It's just that I've seen a lot of stuff, and I've seen that the cherry tree really likes to be with Comfrey. You'll see I've hacked it to death. You cannot kill Comfrey. It is very difficult, and actually gave our cameraman some Comfrey from this plant. And so it's everywhere. You can see I've got to pull some up over there. I have some other things planted. Again, it's a journey. I've got some calendula here. And then over here, this is a really cool area. I have some lupine. So I want to have a whole video about lupin. I just learned some things about lupin that I didn't know before. I want to have a whole video. One of the, getting into native plants, you can make some mistakes where there are some species where you think you're doing good. For instance, something like, I don't have any tropical milkweed here because where we are right now, that would confuse the butterfly as to where it is. And so there's certain species, so there's a species of lupin that actually is native to North America, but because of its predominance taking over another type of lupin, a wild lupin, that's contributed to the Melissa blue Carner butterfly being endangered. Now, I thought I was helping the Melissa blue Carner butterfly, but I've been planting the wrong type of lupin, so I have to remediate that. So again, like, you can think you're doing the right thing, and you really have to, it's sometimes, it's trial and error, and then you gotta keep digging and keep learning and never really stop. And here is Liatris. So a lot of blazing stars, prairie blazing star, meadow blazing star, all the blazing stars. And I've got some Vervain. This is the white version of Vervain. Vervain, I found out about, I was reading this book, I'll have to put the link. I don't recommend the book, but it's a book written in like 1972 that's about like gardening in Wisconsin. And I'm like reading it, and there's this chapter that's like herbs we don't use anymore. And Vervain and borage were on there. And Vervain and borage, by pulling them back into my garden, I think they're two of the most incredible plants I've put in my garden. And so this is a perennial native to Wisconsin. And this is really for pollinators. This is Magical Moonlight ButtonBush. So I start with some bushes, and then I've got some chokeberry here. And you'll notice in the back here, I have some giant hyssop, another native, and I have a giant coneflower, Rudbeckia huge, Hugus maximus Rudbeckia, but I think we called it Gigantica. I can't remember what the second name is, but it gets this huge flower. It's enormous, and so these plants are really big. They kind of stake back. They're pretty awesome. And chokeberry, I found out about, another native plant, really cool plant. I use it as a trap plant for Japanese beetles as well as borage. And you might have seen, I got a little puddler right here. And I try to keep this wet and moist, and I try to mix it, and it's a mix of sand. And then what I do is I take bat guano, which is bat poop, and I put that on there and I let it, you'll see there's some, the idea is there's some black that's where the bat guano is. And Lepidoptera, they'll put their tongue into the soil and they'll pull water. They'll suck water and they suck minerals out. It's a way for them to get minerals. And then you probably might see over here, this is a little bee water dish, basically. And this is specifically really for bees and smaller insects. And so this will slowly drip out as they use it. I try to keep it clean. This is one of the harder things to keep going. And then here I have bee balm, because I got my bee little area. I have some really tiny coneflower and different Monardas. So Monarda fistula, I can't remember the name of all the Monardas, but this is generally Monardas. And then in here, more flowers. These are candlesticks, I think they're called. And then what's really cool is on the back side, I have some rattlestick master, which is one of my favorite plants. It looks like a cactus. It's so cool. It's such a cool plant. We'll put a picture of it because it doesn't really come out till late summer. And then I have a really yellow coneflower back there. This is chokeberry. So together I have some chokeberry, and I just think it's funny. I put the zinnia back here, and I'm hoping it kind of gets tall because he's not loving life back there. I've got some annual. So this is an annual version of Monarda. So this is Monarda citriodora. It's a coneflower. Milkweed. So now I'm back on my edge of my milkweed. And then this is not a native. It is a perennial. So I know I said I only put natives in here, and I lied to you, and I'm sorry. This is Marshmallow Plant. So I'm gonna dig these up, and I'm gonna make marshmallows like they used to make them back in like 1860, because that's the last time they actually made marshmallows out of marshmallow plant. So this is a mallow plant. Can't wait to dig that up. I've got it in with some natives. And again, I've got this, I love lemon bee balm. It's one of my favorites. I've got some lavender back here. This border edge, you'll kind of see, I have too many plants. So there are some veggies on the line here that are in these air pots, but on the edges of the border, what I've really tried to do is have native strawberry. So strawberry. Fragaria virginiana is the name of the species. So it's a very tiny berry, but it is the host plant to a couple larvae. It is the host plant to a couple Lepidoptera species for their larvae. Then back here, I pretty much do veggies and flowers to just kind of have an entry point into the pollinator garden. So I've got a bunch of big onions, the ageratum, geranium. There's certain geraniums, especially when they have like these really cool foliage I love. And then these are onions. I love onions. I've got about 200 onions across this back. This is some really nice Delen celery. I have three different versions. They're really great. And then this is my little salad nook. This is some of the best tasting salad I've ever made. A nice little salad bed. And then here I've got ironweed. So what's really cool is I have a bunch of things here. So there's Meadowsweet, which is a larval host, Ironweed, another larval host, and then Pussy Toes, which you can kind of see back here. They've gotten a little bit clumped up, and then I also have some Pearly Everlasting, really cool plant. And then I forgot to mention, I've got the prairie plant. This is a prairie smoke. It's a goom. And it's already flowered. When it flowers, it looks like smoke. It's a really cool plant. It flowers kind of early spring. I've got some sedum here. That's some native sedum. Oh, and this is actually my first. This is a native grass. I can't remember the name, but this is a native. I believe it's actually a native sedge for the corner. I just planted that. This is. These are two common mullins, so you can see they're in a container. So mullein is a great plant, but it can get a little bit away from you. Back in my milkweed, some of you saw the video on Helianthus maximilian, and look at how well it's doing. It's got it's got like 30 stems. I did a Chelsea chop on it, which I didn't do a video of, but that's why it's looking like this. And then I do have some more lettuce, some broccoli, some celery. This is my little corner of columbine. So I've got some different columbines. You can see there the lemon bee balm when it's flowered. Oh, there's a bee on it right now. Yeah. Oh, there's two. There's a bumblebee. It's like, no, thank you. And then this is all milkweed here. And then I did want to point out that there's an endangered milkweed. It's this purple milkweed. It hasn't flowered yet. It's down here. It's really beautiful. It's an endangered to Wisconsin milkweed. This is its second year. I've been taking care of it, and I really hope to propagate it and give it to everyone in the state so that they can grow it. And then this is Three Sisters. So we're inside. So I'm not very good with 3D animation, but the way I see it is you can see how it's surrounded by perennials, right? I have these mounds. So this I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna basically pull out like you see here. I'm gonna then leave it on the ground. This is mostly amaranth. Mostly amaranth. So this is my corn. So once we're done shooting today, I'm gonna go through and do what you see here. I'm gonna bring my hoe in. I'm gonna kind of go around, not disturb the soil too much. I'm just gonna kind of get rid of anything that's not corn on these mounds. And then in about a week and a half, once the corn gets about knee height, so you can see how, I guess this one's, once it gets to about here, I'm gonna put the beans. I'll actually plant beans, 4 to 6 beans on each mound. And then I'm gonna plant squash, so it'll be all nice, and then I'll mulch. So typically I only do this with Three Sisters where I don't mulch, but the idea is the corn is gonna I'm doing a really cool heirloom sweet corn. And the idea is the corn gets up, it holds on to the beans, they've got a structure, they've got a support system, and then the squash is like a cover for the soil to keep it nice, and also a cover for the bunnies that basically home here, that don't care that I'm here, and they just walk around, and it's really hilarious for everyone but me and the plants that they choose to eat. But Three Sisters, I've got 3, 6, 7, 8 mounds, little spot for myself. A lot of times the fourth sister is considered amaranth. So a lot of tribes considered the fourth sister, which is why I originally planted it. Well, I also didn't realize how aggressive amaranth is. here's the thing, I love amaranth. I feel like amaranth is one of those plants, kind of like sunflowers. It gets a bad rap. A lot of people don't know about it. It's a beautiful plant, grows very easily, has a really big taproot, but amaranth is really cool, although most of this amaranth I have to kill. And I just want to point out, this is why I love chaos gardening. Okay, so this is one of my favorite native plants. It's an annual. This is Lacy Facilia. Oh my goodness, and there's a hoverfly. There's a very small insect on it, and they love it. So this was over in that bed. It chaos seeded over here, made its way over by the Liatris, and I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything to it, and it's flowering, and hopefully this spreads everywhere. But again, most people don't grow this type of native annual flower, and it really is an excellent plant for those small beneficials that you really don't think about. We don't give a lot of thought to. And as we back out of this, you'll see you're in a milkweed patch. Got a little bit of sedum. I have the original little blue stem bushes, which I love so much, and they support so many pollinators, so many Lepidoptera species. But mostly we have milkweed in here. I have to pull out, there's some weeds where I'll weed this. But it's mostly natives inside of here. I won't really weed a lot of this. Like if I see something, like this is lamb's ear, I don't really want lamb's ear in this area, and so I'll pull this out and chop and drop. And then this is a cardinal plant. And then you'll see back here, I got a bunch of asters. So this is what I call Aster Row. And it's really cool. I've got some penstemon. I have some New Jersey tea, and I also have some partridge pea. And then back here, you'll see a couple amaranth bullies. I've done some onions. I have a bunch of parsley in here. So again, like, let's say there's 20 to 25 plants that aren't native in here. I realize that. A lot of times, don't laugh at me too hard, my asparagus plant, which is in its, you'll see here, I've let it kind of fall over. I didn't harvest this year. Next year, I think I'll get a pretty good harvest. And it's kind of here in the middle of my patch, even though I've got the amaranth, even though I've got this parsley. This is an aster. I love how, you know, it was this huge. Now it's this big. It's not doing as well as this guy, but these will be huge flowers. This is a hyssop right there. That'll have so many pollinators around it. It'll be ridiculous. It's amazing. And then we're back into the columbine. That's the pollinator garden. I think I got it all. It's a lot, but it is organized in a way that it's really trying to be, like I said, it's trying to be hotels and restaurants for different species. You know, earlier when I talked about the ironweed with the meadowsweet, that's an example. Or putting the ironweed with the pussy toes or with the pearly everlasting. There's a reason, because that is a nectar plant for the host larva and is next to the host plant. So that way, you know, the big thing that I love when I see monarchs or I see butterflies is that I'm hoping they're putting eggs. Like seeing those caterpillars was just incredible, because that's the whole point. It's you're making food for food that you get to eat. And you know, the more you think about that, oh, here is actually a really good example of showy milkweed, and oh my goodness, and there's a caterpillar on that too. Oh my gosh. So here's a showy milkweed flower, and what's crazy is there's a flower down here, and there's a monarch, I believe a monarch caterpillar. That's showy milkweed. And what's cool about the flowers, when you look at the flowers, like if you go down just a little bit and you see the flowers on this thing, that's why it's called showy milkweed. It's like, that's the vibe. It's so cool. And there's some little pollinators on there. It is showy. I mean, you kind of get why people called it that. Oh, there's another, that's a lacewing. Lacewing, that's great for aphids. They'll eat your aphids. This is why when you garden, this is what it's all about to me. Think about how much those little creatures can impact your own health when you really tie that to yourself, you know, allergies and all the pollutants in our environment, and how these animals help us to, you know, make our food and really make our food taste great and make our food be wholesome for us. It's kind of incredible, and that's why we do it. And so, you know, hopefully you like the pollinator garden, because I love it.